In this special tribute, we remember the legendary wrestlers who shaped the wrestling world with their passion, dedication, and unforgettable moments. Their influence continues to inspire fans across generations. Additionally, we bring you heartfelt updates on Bron Breakker, whose recent news has touched many. Join us as we honor their legacies, reflect on their impact, and keep their memories alive. Subscribe now to be part of this journey in celebrating their extraordinary stories. Sylvester Ritter, better known as the Junkyard Dog, JYD, was born on December the 13th, 1952, and rose to become one of professional wrestling's most beloved and influential figures. His career peaked in the 1980s, with standout runs in the National Wrestling Alliance, NWA, and later the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, now WWE. JYD's vibrant personality and electrifying ring presence made him a fan favorite, especially among African-American audiences who saw him as a groundbreaking figure in a predominantly white sport. Junkyard Dog's character was lively and approachable, known for his signature dog collar and chain, which became an iconic symbol of his tough yet fun-loving persona. He connected with fans through his infectious charisma, catchy catchphrases, and memorable dance moves that energized crowds. Despite his large build, JYD was remarkably agile, dazzling audiences with his powerful body slams and his famous JYD headbutt, a move that highlighted his unique combination of strength and athleticism. Throughout his career, Junkyard Dog achieved several notable championships, including the NWA World Television Championship and the WWF Tag Team Championship. Beyond the titles, his impact extended far beyond the ring. He paved the way for future generations of African American wrestlers and became a symbol of perseverance and success in a challenging industry. Outside wrestling, JYD also made appearances in television shows and films, expanding his reach and popularity beyond sports entertainment. Tragically, his life was cut short in a car accident at the age of 45, but his legacy endures. Junkyard Dog is remembered not only for his in-ring skills, but for his role as a trailblazer and beloved personality whose influence is still felt in wrestling today. Fans continue to honor his memory as a true pioneer who left an indelible mark on the sport. Bart Sawyer, born on November 30th, 1965, was a well-respected figure in professional wrestling. Known for his dynamic in-ring style and lasting contributions to the sport, throughout the late 1980s and 1990s, Sawyer built a strong reputation on the independent wrestling circuit, where his blend of athleticism, high-flying moves, and technical skill earned him a loyal following. He became a familiar and admired presence in various wrestling promotions, including notable appearances in the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, and World Championship Wrestling, WCW. Sawyer's matches were often marked by a balance of speed and technique, captivating audiences with his agility and in-ring storytelling. His ability to connect with fans and deliver exciting performances made him stand out during a competitive era in wrestling. Beyond just entertaining crowds, Sawyer earned the respect of his peers for his professionalism and dedication. What truly set Bart Sawyer apart was his passion for the wrestling community outside of the spotlight. He devoted considerable time to mentoring younger wrestlers, sharing his experience and insights to help develop new talent. His commitment to training and guiding up-and-coming wrestlers demonstrated a genuine love for the sport that went beyond his own career. Through his efforts, Sawyer played a meaningful role in shaping the future of wrestling, ensuring that his knowledge was down to the next generation. Tragically, Bart Sawyer His was a significant loss to the wrestling world, but his legacy continues to live on. Fans and fellow wrestlers alike remember him not only for his exciting performances in the ring, but also for the positive impact he made as a mentor and community figure. Sawyer's contributions to professional wrestling have left an enduring mark celebrated by those whose lives he touched. Mitch Ryder, born on August 2nd, 1972, was an American professional wrestler who made a notable impact on the wrestling world during the early 2000s. Starting his journey in the independent wrestling circuits, Ryder quickly stood out thanks to his magnetic charisma and impressive in-ring abilities. His high-energy performances and genuine connection with the crowd earned him a loyal fan base, making him a memorable figure in the wrestling community. Throughout his brief but impactful career, Ryder showcased remarkable versatility. He competed in various promotions, including the International Wrestling Association, IWA, where his gritty and rebellious persona perfectly matched the edgier wrestling style that was gaining popularity at the turn of the century. His ability to seamlessly switch between technical wrestling and hardcore matches demonstrated his adaptability and deep passion for the sport. Ryder's career also saw him venture into World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, where he performed in their developmental territories. There, he continued to refine his craft and build a reputation as a dedicated and hard-working talent. His rebellious character, combined with his skill and intensity, helped him carve out a unique place in the wrestling scene during a time when the industry was evolving rapidly. Tragically, Mitch Ryder's promising career and life were cut short when his untimely sent shockwaves through the wrestling world, as many saw him as a rising star with immense potential. Despite his relatively short time in the ring, Ryder's impact was undeniable. His passion, dedication, and memorable performances left a lasting impression on fans and fellow wrestlers alike. Today, Mitch Ryder is remembered not only for his wrestling talent, but also for the spirit he brought to the sport, serving as a reminder of the sacrifices and commitment wrestlers make to entertain and inspire their audience. Terry Funk, born Terrence Funk on June 30th, 1944, in Hammond, Indiana, was a legendary figure in professional wrestling whose career spanned over 5 decades. Coming from a wrestling family, Terry followed in the footsteps of his father, Dory Funk Sr., and his brother, Dory Funk Jr., both respected names in the wrestling world. He began wrestling in 1965 in his father's promotion, quickly earning a reputation for his toughness and technical ability. In 1975, Funk reached the pinnacle of his career by winning the prestigious NWA World Heavyweight Championship, defeating Jack Briscoe. This victory cemented his place as a top-tier wrestler, equally skilled in technical wrestling, hard-hitting brawls, and aerial maneuvers. Throughout the 1970s and early 80s, he was a major star in various territories, known for his rugged style and intense matches. What truly set Terry Funk apart was his role as a pioneer of hardcore wrestling. In the 1980s and 1990s, Funk became famous for his brutal, weapon-filled matches that pushed the boundaries of the sport. Wrestling in promotions like All Japan Pro Wrestling, ECW, WCW, and WWF, he helped popularize the hardcore style globally. His legendary rivalries, especially with Ric Flair and his key role in the rise of ECW, are remembered as some of the wrestling's most iconic moments. Beyond wrestling, Funk's cowboy charisma made him a fan favorite and helped him cross over into pop culture with appearances in films like Roadhouse and Over the Top. Inducted into multiple halls of fame, including the WWE Hall of Fame in 2009, Funk's influence on wrestling is immeasurable. Terry Funk, leaving behind a legacy of innovation, passion, and resilience that made him one of wrestling's greatest icons. Billy Two Rivers, born on May 5, 1935, was a trailblazing professional wrestler and a dedicated Indigenous activist. A proud member of the Mohawk Nation, he launched his wrestling career in the late 1950s, quickly standing out for his dynamic style and impressive athleticism. His Indigenous heritage was a core part of his wrestling identity, as he often incorporated cultural symbols and themes into his ring persona, which resonated deeply with audiences. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, Two Rivers made a significant mark in the wrestling world, competing in major promotions such as the National Wrestling Alliance, NWA, and the World Wrestling Federation, WWF. His skill inside the ring was matched by his charismatic presence, helping him connect with fans across North America. Wrestling alongside some of the era's top talents, he earned widespread respect for his talent and showmanship. His matches were known for blending athletic prowess with storytelling, and he became a beloved figure in the wrestling community. Outside of wrestling, Billy Two Rivers was a passionate advocate for Indigenous rights. Throughout his life, he used his fame as a platform to bring attention to the struggles and achievements of Indigenous peoples. He worked tirelessly to promote cultural awareness, respect, and equality for Indigenous communities, and inspiring many to embrace their roots and fight for justice. Billy Two Rivers, leaving behind a powerful legacy. He is remembered not only as a pioneering wrestler who broke barriers in the sport, but also as a courageous activist who championed Indigenous rights. His contributions continue to inspire future generations, ensuring that his impact on both wrestling and Indigenous advocacy will not be forgotten. Bob Armstrong, born October 3, 1939, was a legendary professional wrestler, celebrated for his charisma, skill, and lasting influence on the sport. Launching his wrestling career in the 1960s, Armstrong quickly became a standout performer in various regional promotions. His blend of athleticism and engaging personality made him an instant fan favorite, helping him build a reputation that spanned decades. Throughout his career, Armstrong captured several prestigious titles, including the NWA Southern Heavyweight Championship and the NWA Tag Team Championship. He was a key figure in major promotions like the National Wrestling Alliance, NWA, and World Championship Wrestling, WCW, where his intense rivalries with other wrestling legends captivated audiences. Known for his hard-hitting style and unique in-ring presence, Armstrong's matches were memorable for their toughness and storytelling. Off the mat, Bob Armstrong was deeply committed to his family and played a significant role as a mentor. His influence extended beyond his own career as he guided and inspired his sons, who followed in his footsteps to become wrestlers themselves. Armstrong emphasized dedication, discipline, and passion, ensuring his wrestling legacy would endure through the next generation. Armstrong's contributions to professional wrestling earned him induction into multiple halls of fame, a testament to his importance in the industry, though his legacy remains vibrant in the wrestling world. Fans and peers alike remember Bob Armstrong as a consummate professional whose talent, heart, and charisma helped shape the sport for years to come. His impact continues to inspire wrestlers and fans, solidifying his place among wrestling's all-time greats. Bronson Rechsteiner, better known by his WWE ring name, Bron Breakker, is a name wrestling fans have rapidly come to associate with raw power, fierce athleticism, and the promise of a new generation of dominance in the squared circle. Born on October 24, 1997, in Woodstock, Georgia, Breakker carries the weight of a legendary wrestling lineage on his broad shoulders. His story is not just one of genetic inheritance, but of carving out his own identity amid high expectations and the ruthless realities of WWE's main roster. A legacy written in blood, the Steiner wrestling dynasty. To understand Bron Breakker, you first need to appreciate his roots. His father, Robert Rex Steiner, better known to wrestling fans as Rick Steiner, was one half of the iconic Steiner Brothers tag team, whose impact on wrestling's tag division is still felt decades later. Bron is also the nephew of Scott Steiner, a figure equally revered for his technical skills, charisma, and imposing presence. Growing up in such a wrestling family, Bron was practically destined to step inside the ring. But his journey was not simply a matter of following in family footsteps. It was about proving that he belonged in an industry where legacies can either elevate or crush new talent. Even from his youth, Bron showed promise, not just as a wrestler, but as an athlete in general. Before ever making his WWE debut, Bron had aspirations in football. At Etowah High School, he played on the gridiron, demonstrating physicality and competitive drive. Though his professional football ambitions didn't come to fruition, the rigorous discipline and athletic conditioning from his football background became a critical foundation for his wrestling career. His agility, explosive strength, and endurance in the ring owe much to those formative years. Physical presence and early career, a force to be reckoned, withstanding approximately 1.83 meters, about 6 feet tall, and weighing roughly 113 kilograms, about 249 pounds, Breakker possesses a blend of power and speed that sets him apart from many contemporaries. WWE has always valued this combination, the ability to overpower opponents while maintaining agility and quickness in the ring. From his early appearances in WWE's NXT brand, Breakker turned heads with his no-nonsense wrestling style and natural charisma. His in-ring persona initially came across as a bright, energetic powerhouse, a young lion eager to prove himself. He quickly made his mark, securing 2 NXT championship reigns and an NXT Tag Team Championship run, accomplishments that showcased WWE's confidence in his potential. Yet, it was his swift capture of the WWE Intercontinental Championship, not once but twice, that truly signaled his impending arrival on the main roster's grand stage. Few wrestlers reached that level so quickly, and Breakker's rapid ascent placed him firmly in the conversation as a future cornerstone of WWE. The Raw spotlight and a new heel persona currently, Bron Breakker is featured prominently on WWE's flagship Raw brand, but it's not the Bron fans first fell in love with in NXT. His character has undergone a dramatic transformation. Gone is the wide-eyed powerhouse with a smile that radiated youthful enthusiasm. Instead, we now see a cold, calculated, and ruthless competitor. A heel with an intimidating presence and a dangerous edge. This new persona is largely shaped by Breakker's alliance with 2 of the most influential figures in WWE history, Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. Rollins, known for his strategic mind games, technical brilliance, and ability to carry storylines with compelling storytelling, has become a mentor and partner to Breakker. Paul Heyman, perhaps the most legendary wrestling manager and advocate of all time, adds an extra layer of intrigue and backstage power to this alliance. Together, This trio has shaken up Monday Night Raw, earning whispered comparisons to some of WWE's most infamous factions, the Authority under Triple H or the Bloodline's dominance on SmackDown. Fans and insiders alike call them the New Authority, an ominous sign of their intent to control the landscape of WWE's main event scene. Breaker's role is clear: the enforcer, the heavy muscle, the cold executioner. His in-ring style has evolved into something more brutal and precise. He dismantles opponents methodically, using a blend of power moves and technical prowess. This character shift is not just a storyline choice. It represents WWE's attempt to position Breaker as a top-tier heel, a major player who can carry the brand's biggest storylines. Backstage realities, the challenges behind the curtain. However, as much as Breaker's on-screen momentum has been impressive, the backstage reality paints a more complex picture. According to numerous insider reports and backstage rumors, WWE's accelerated push of Bron Breakker into a main event-level spotlight is causing some concern among veterans and production staff. While Breakker's athleticism and physique are unquestionable, some seasoned wrestlers and creative minds reportedly believe he is still too green for the responsibility and exposure that comes with being a top heel on Raw. Wrestling is as much about storytelling and connecting emotionally with the audience as it is about physical ability. And on those fronts, Breakker is still seen as a work in progress. One particularly interesting rumor centers on Seth Rollins' initial hesitation about working so closely with Breakker. Known for his perfectionism and dedication to match quality and storytelling, Rollins allegedly expressed reservations about Breakker's promo skills and occasional stiffness in the ring. Rollins' name carries significant weight backstage, and sources suggest there were some heated discussions on how to elevate Breakker without compromising Rollins' own credibility. Paul Heyman's involvement adds another layer of backstage politics. Heyman, famous for cultivating and fiercely protecting his clients, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and others, is said to have advocated aggressively for Breakker's protection. Reports claim Heyman pushed hard for booking decisions that would avoid Breakker suffering clean losses for the foreseeable future. While this can be advantageous for Breakker's character, it has reportedly caused friction with other wrestlers who feel overlooked or unfairly over despite their years of dedication. These backstage dynamics highlight the balancing act WWE faces: managing talent development, protecting top stars, and keeping the locker room atmosphere stable while telling compelling stories on screen. The fanbase reaction, divided but engaged. Among WWE fans, the response to Bron Breakker's heel turn and elevated status has been markedly divided. NXT loyalists, who witnessed his steady rise and dominant performances in the developmental brand, are overwhelmingly supportive. They see Breakker as a throwback to a bygone era of powerhouse wrestlers who rely on strength and intensity over flashy antics or overly elaborate gimmicks. Many fans praise his raw energy, physicality, and old-school vibe, calling him a refreshing change in a wrestling world often dominated by high flyers or overly choreographed matches. To them, Breakker represents the kind of star who can dominate for years, much like the Steiners did in their prime. Conversely, critics argue that Breakker's charisma, especially on the microphone, does not yet measure up to the demands of a true WWE main eventer. The WWE Universe has long seen that in-ring skills are vital but insufficient. The ability to deliver promos, connect emotionally, and carry storylines through verbal exchanges is equally critical. On social media platforms like Twitter, now X, discussions about Breakker are frequent and fiery. Many fans question whether he is the next Roman Reigns project, referencing WWE's infamous push of Reigns as a babyface, despite vocal fan resistance in his early years. The phrase, Paul Heyman's new project, often trends after Raw shows, underscoring the perception that Breakker's rise is largely fueled by backstage favoritism rather than organic crowd support. This polarization keeps Breakker in the spotlight, but also increases the pressure on him to evolve quickly. The main event question: is Bron Breakker ready? Perhaps the most pressing issue surrounding Bron Breakker's rapid ascension is a simple yet critical one. Is he ready? WWE history offers plenty of examples of young talents who were thrust into the spotlight prematurely. While there are shining success stories like Brock Lesnar, whose unprecedented size and charisma carried him to the top swiftly, there are also cautionary tales. Ryback, Lars Sullivan, and even Roman Reigns' initial run as a babyface, which faced massive backlash. For Breakker, the risk is real. If he cannot adapt quickly, improving his mic skills, connecting on a deeper emotional level with fans, and becoming more fluid and expressive in his in-ring work, his momentum could stall, or worse, backfire. Another looming concern is Seth Rollins' rumored time off later in the year. Rollins has battled various injuries and is reportedly planning to take a hiatus to heal. This poses a significant challenge for Breakker, who currently relies heavily on Rollins' star power and presence to carry heat and legitimacy. Without Rollins and Heyman propping him up, the question remains whether Breakker can stand on his own as a compelling heel and main event threat. Future storylines and potential feuds. SummerSlam 2025 and beyond. WWE Creative seems to be aware of these challenges and is reportedly gearing up to test Breakker's mettle in the summer of 2025. Rumors suggest a blockbuster feud in the works, potentially with either Cody Rhodes or Drew McIntyre, two seasoned veterans known for their storytelling mastery and passionate fan bases. A rivalry with Rhodes or McIntyre would be a monumental test. Both men bring decades of experience, intense physicality, and captivating promo skills. Breakker will need to be at his absolute best to hold his own, not just physically, but psychologically and emotionally in this kind of storyline. In addition to external rivalries, internal storylines involving Rollins and Breakker are also reportedly in the pipeline. Creative has floated the idea of Breakker eventually turning on Seth Rollins, which could serve as a major catalyst to elevate Breakker's status further. This potential feud would thrust Breakker into a new spotlight, forcing him to break free from Rollins' shadow and prove he can be a standalone main event star. But this narrative carries risks. If Breakker is not yet ready for this kind of intense scrutiny and pressure, the storyline could expose his weaknesses instead of showcasing his strengths. Paul Heyman's big vision. The world title. Dream behind the scenes, Paul Heyman is said to have grand ambitions for Bron Breakker. WWE insiders whisper of plans to position Breakker as a future world champion, possibly as early as 2026. Heyman's track record in building legends is unparalleled. He has helped mold Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns into two of the biggest names in WWE history, and his management style is both fiercely protective and relentlessly strategic. For Breakker to fulfill Heyman's vision, he must rise to the occasion quickly. The next year or two will be pivotal, requiring continuous growth in promo work, match psychology, and audience connection. If Breakker can pull it off, he could redefine the next era of WWE main event wrestling, carrying forward the legacy of his family while carving out an entirely unique path. Final thoughts: the path ahead for Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker's story is still being written. At just 27 years old, he stands at a crossroads. On one path lies superstardom, fueled by pedigree, physical gifts, and powerful allies in Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. On the other path lies the common fate of many promising young wrestlers who burned too bright, too fast, and faded under pressure. For Breakker to become a generational star, he will need to master the art of wrestling. Beyond pure strength, he must learn to tell stories with his words and emotions, connect deeply with fans, and become more comfortable carrying big matches on his own. Wrestling fans around the world watch with a mixture of hope, excitement, and cautious skepticism. Can Bron Breakker rise to the occasion and dominate WWE for the next decade? Or will he become a cautionary tale, a victim of rushed hype and backstage politics? One thing is certain: WWE's future is intertwined with Bron Breakker's journey, and his success or failure will have ripple effects throughout the industry. The next chapter is unfolding live, with Breakker positioned squarely at the center of WWE's evolving landscape.